Look at her. Just look at her. Sitting there in a hoodie at our parents' 30th anniversary. Have some respect, Olivia. This isn't your dorm room. My brother Nathan's voice boomed through the luxury lakeside lodge, cutting through the polite chatter of 50 guests like a serrated knife. I didn't look up from my screen. I didn't flinch. I just kept typing, one line of code at a time. The air in the room shifted, settling into that heavy, suffocating silence that happens when a family's golden child decides to publicly execute the scapegoat. Nathan wasn't finished. He was never finished until he had an audience. He marched over to the main entertainment center, his tailored Italian suit gleaming under the chandeliers I had paid for. With a few arrogant clicks, he hijacked the 60-inch television. Suddenly, the slideshow of Mom and Dad's wedding photos vanished. In its place, a bright, aggressive sales dashboard appeared, projecting jagged green lines and dollar signs in high definition. See this? This is what success looks like, Olivia. $250,000 in commissions this quarter alone. That is real work. That is providing value. Not whatever little coding hobby you're wasting your life on. He gestured grandly to the screen, inviting the room to marvel at his numbers. My parents laughed. A nervous, enabling chuckle that said, "Oh, Nathan is just being Nathan." But their eyes were cold when they looked at me. Disappointed. Ashamed that their daughter was the smudge on their perfect picture. I stopped typing. My fingers hovered over the enter key. The room waited for me to break, to run, to apologize for existing in my hoodie and jeans. But I didn't feel shame. I felt a cold, mathematical precision settling in my chest. They saw a failure. I saw a target. Before we go any further, drop a comment and let me know where you're listening from and what time it is for you right now. I'd love to know who's part of our community. I looked at Nathan's dashboard. It was flashy, loud, and completely dependent on the server architecture I had spent the last 4 years building in the dark. It was funny, really. My brother was bragging about driving a Ferrari, unaware that I owned the road he was driving on. This dynamic wasn't new. It was the architectural blueprint of our entire lives. Nathan was the noise, I was the silence. Growing up, if Nathan sold 5 chocolate bars for a school fundraiser, we had a pizza party. If I won a national coding competition, I got a "that's nice, honey, now set the table." I learned early that in this family, value wasn't about what you built. It was about how loudly you could sell it. So I stopped trying to sell. I started building. I skipped the family vacations to patch servers. I lived in a studio apartment the size of a closet, eating ramen and reinvesting every single cent into my company's infrastructure. I wore the same 3 hoodies until they frayed because I wasn't buying clothes, I was buying equity. I became a ghost in my own life, invisible to them, irrelevant. But invisibility has its perks. When you're invisible, you see everything. I saw the late-night notices from the bank that my father hid in his desk drawer. I saw the credit card statements my mother shredded. I saw the reality behind Nathan's high-ticket lifestyle, the leased car, the maxed-out cards, the desperate need for validation. They thought I was failing because I was quiet. They didn't know that for the past 2 years, I had been the one keeping the lights on. I paid off their credit card debt anonymously through a shell company. I covered the mortgage arrears on their house under the guise of a banking error in their favor. I funded this entire anniversary party, transferring $20,000 to the event planner with strict instructions to keep my name off the invoice. I wasn't just their daughter. I was their safety net. I was the silent investor in the business of their lives, and my returns were zero. Nathan's voice cut through my thoughts again. He was still talking, still pointing at his quarterly earnings as if they were a holy scripture. It's called hustle, Olivia. You should try it sometime. Maybe then you wouldn't have to dress like a teenager. I analyzed him. I deconstructed the man standing before me. And for the first time, I didn't see a bully. I saw a man terrified of silence. He was loud because he was empty. He needed the applause, the flashy suit, the public validation because without it, he was nothing. He was a man shouting into a void, hoping the echo would sound like success. It is a specific kind of tragedy, watching someone build their entire identity on a foundation of sand, while you are the one holding back the tide. But the tide was getting heavy. And I was tired of holding it. You're not even listening, are you? Nathan's voice dropped an octave, shifting from performative arrogance to genuine aggression. He didn't like it when the prop didn't play along. He stepped closer, invading my personal space, his expensive cologne cloying and thick. Put the laptop away, Olivia. You are embarrassing Mom and Dad. I didn't move. I didn't close the screen. I simply looked up at him. I am working, Nathan. Working? He laughed, a sharp, barking sound that grated on my nerves. You call that working? Playing pretend CEO in your bedroom isn't work. Making real money is work. Closing deals is work. He turned to our parents, arms wide, soliciting their support like a politician. Tell her, Dad. Tell her to show some respect for the people who actually pay the bills. My father, Robert, cleared his throat. He swirled his scotch, looking everywhere but at me. Nathan's right, Olivia. It is a special occasion. You could at least pretend to be present. We just want you to be part of the family, but you make it so difficult. Difficult. That was their word for me. I was difficult because I didn't applaud. I was difficult because I didn't need them. My mother, Stacy, chimed in, her voice tight with that specific brand of maternal disappointment she reserved just for me. Honey, please. Just put it away. People are staring. It looks bad. It looks bad. Not are you okay? Not tell us about your project. Just it looks bad. That was the currency of our household. Optics over substance. The appearance of a happy family over the reality of a broken one. Nathan took their support as a green light. He reached out and slammed my laptop shut. The sound echoed like a gunshot in the quiet lodge. The screen went black. My reflection stared back at me from the dark monitor, calm, cold, and ready. You need to learn your place, Olivia, he spat, leaning down so his face was inches from mine. You are a guest here. You are a spectator. Stop acting like you're important. My hand rested on the cool metal of the laptop lid. I could feel the heat radiating from the processor underneath. Inside that machine was a command line I had prepped 10 minutes ago. A single line of code. A simple execution script. I looked at my parents. They were watching, silent, complicit. They were letting him do this. They had always let him do this. They were betting on the loud horse, convinced that volume equaled victory. I slowly opened the laptop again. Nathan made a move to grab it, but I was faster. My fingers found the keyboard. You ruined the vibe, Olivia, Nathan sneered, straightening his tie. Now apologize. I offered no apology. I offered no words. I simply initiated the sequence. I hit enter. The room didn't explode, there were no sirens, real power doesn't need pyrotechnics, it just needs execution. On the 60-inch television screen, Nathan's sales dashboard froze, the jagged green line stopped moving, the commission counter, which had been ticking up by the second, halted mid-digit. Nathan frowned, tapping his phone, what the hell? The Wi-Fi in this place is garbage. He tried to refresh the page, nothing happened. Then, the screen flickered, once, twice, the aggressive green and black color scheme of his company's software dissolved, it was replaced by a clean, minimalist white background, a loading bar appeared in the center of the screen, filling up with terrifying speed. What did you do? Nathan spun around, glaring at me, did you crash the router? I remained silent, I kept my eyes trained on the screen, the loading bar hit 100%, a new logo faded into view, a logo that wasn't his company's, it was a stylized, geometric, my logo. Underneath it, bold black text appeared, system-wide update complete, welcome to the Omnicorp family. The room went quiet, not the polite silence of a party lull, but the confused, heavy silence of people witnessing something they couldn't process. Nathan stared at the screen, he laughed, but it sounded thin. Okay, very funny, you hacked the TV, real mature, Olivia, putting your little fake company logo on the screen. He pulled out his phone, frantically tapping the app icon to prove me wrong, but his phone screen mirrored the TV, the same white background, the same geometric O, the same welcome message. His face went pale, he looked up, panic flickering behind his eyes for the first time. This isn't I can't log in, it says. He read the error message out loud, his voice trembling, administrative access required, account frozen pending review, contact owner, Olivia Sterling. He stopped, he read the name again, Olivia Sterling, my name. My father stood up, his glass of scotch forgotten in his hand. Olivia? What is this? Why is your name on Nathan's work app? I finally looked up from my laptop, my voice was calm, even, devoid of any emotion. It's not his work app anymore, Dad, it's mine. Panic is a fascinating thing to watch. It strips away the bravado and leaves only the raw, ugly instinct for self-preservation. Nathan wasn't the golden child anymore, he was a man drowning in shallow water. He fumbled with his phone, his fingers slipping on the screen as he dialed tech support. He put it on speakerphone, desperate for an audience, desperate for someone to tell him this was a mistake, a prank, anything other than the truth. Answer, come on, he hissed, pacing back and forth. The line clicked. Thank you for calling enterprise support, this call may be recorded for quality assurance. Nathan practically screamed at the automated voice, get me a human. Now. I need a supervisor. A moment later, a tired-sounding rep came on the line, support, this is Kevin, how can I help you? Kevin, listen to me, my dashboard is gone, some hacker put a fake logo on the interface, it's locked me out, you need to fix this immediately or I am getting you fired, do you know who I am? I am the top producer in this region. There was a pause on the other end, the sound of typing. Sir, can you give me your employee ID? Nathan rattled off the numbers, glaring at me the entire time. See? He sneered, one phone call, that's all it takes to fix your little mess. The typing stopped. Sir, there is no glitch, the system update was pushed globally at 9 a.m. this morning. What are you talking about? What update? The acquisition update, sir, the merger was finalized last night, your company was acquired by Sterling Holdings. The room felt like all the oxygen had been sucked out. Sterling Holdings, my shell company, the one I used to pay their bills, the one I used to buy the servers. Acquired? Nathan's voice cracked, acquired by who? By the new parent company, sir, it was a cash buyout, $1.2 billion. $1.2 billion, the number hung in the air, heavy and impossible, my mother gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. All regional sales accounts are currently frozen pending a performance review by the new ownership, Kevin continued, his voice monotone, reading from a script, we have been instructed to direct all high-level inquiries to the CEO's office. The CEO? Nathan whispered, who is the CEO? The founder of Sterling Holdings, sir, Miss Olivia Sterling. Nathan dropped the phone, it hit the hardwood floor with a dull thud, but the connection didn't break. Kevin's voice tinny and small from the floor, asked, sir? Are you still there? Nathan looked at me, he looked at the girl in the hoodie, the failure, the nerd, the embarrassment, and for the first time in his life, he saw the predator. I closed my laptop with a soft click. Any other questions, Nathan? I asked, or should we discuss your performance inefficiencies? I stood up, it wasn't a dramatic motion, but it felt like the tectonic plates of the room shifted. My parents were staring at me like they had never seen me before, and in a way, they hadn't. They had been looking at a projection of their own disappointment for 26 years, now, the projector was off. Olivia? My mother's voice was a whisper, trembling with a cocktail of confusion and terror. You bought his company? I bought the parent corporation, Mom, I corrected, my tone conversational, like we were discussing the weather. Nathan's company was just a subsidiary, a small asset in a larger portfolio. I needed their server architecture, acquiring them was faster than building it from scratch. 1.2 billion? My father repeated the number, his brain short-circuiting. He looked at Nathan, then back at me, trying to reconcile the narrative he had built with the reality standing in front of him. But you're just you play on your computer. I build software, Dad, the software that runs the logistics for half the Fortune 500, the software Nathan uses to brag about his commission checks. I built the engine, he just polishes the hood. I walked over to the table where the expensive appetizers sat untouched. I picked up a glass of water. You know, I almost didn't do it today, I said, taking a sip. I was going to wait until Monday, let you have your weekend, but then Nathan decided to give his little speech about value, about who pays the bills. I turned to look at them. So let's talk about bills, let's talk about the $24,000 in credit card debt I paid off for you last year, Mom, or the mortgage arrears on this house, Dad, or the rental fee for this lodge. My mother's face went white. That was you? We thought the bank made a mistake. You thought the bank accidentally forgave $30,000 of debt? I asked, raising an eyebrow, or did you just not want to question a miracle because it was easier than admitting you were drowning? Nathan was shaking his head, backing away. You're lying, you can't have that kind of money, you're a loser, Olivia. You're the loser. I pulled my phone out, I opened the banking app, I held it up, the balance wasn't a number, it was a latitude and longitude. Nathan stopped speaking. You brag about a $250,000 commission, Nathan, that is cute, I spent more than that this morning on legal fees to finalize this deal. My father stepped forward, his hands shaking, he put on a smile, a grotesque, desperate mask of paternal affection. Olivia sweetheart, why didn't you tell us? We always knew you were special, we were just pushing you to be your best. I looked at him, I looked at the man who had rolled his eyes at me an hour ago. The cognitive dissonance was almost painful to watch. He was trying to rewrite history in real time, trying to edit the footage of my childhood to make himself the hero of my success story. Don't, I said, my voice was ice, do not try to claim this. You didn't push me, you ignored me, you celebrated the noise, and you ignored the work. You bet on the wrong horse, Dad, and now you want to cash a ticket you never bought. I picked up my bag, the weight of it felt good, solid. I'm leaving, you can stay, I paid for the lodge until Sunday, enjoy the open bar. I started walking toward the door. Olivia, wait. My mother cried out, reaching for me, we can talk about this. We're family. I stopped, I didn't turn around. No, Mom, we're not family, I was an employee you forgot to pay, and I just quit. The air outside the lodge was crisp, biting, and clean. It smelled of pine needles and damp earth, a stark contrast to the stifling, perfume-heavy air inside. I walked to my car, my boots crunching on the gravel. Behind me, the lodge glowed with golden light, a beautiful cage I had finally unlocked. I didn't slam the car door, I closed it gently. I put the key in the ignition, but I didn't turn it. I just sat there for a moment, listening to the silence. Inside, Nathan was probably still staring at that frozen screen. My parents were probably screaming at each other, or crying, or frantically calculating how much backpedaling they would have to do to get back in my good graces. My phone lit up on the passenger seat. Mom, Olivia, please pick up. Dad, we need to discuss the future. Nathan, you can't fire me, I'll sue. I swiped the notifications away. I opened the settings, block contact. One by one, it wasn't angry, it was administrative, just another system update. I started the car and pulled out of the driveway. As I drove down the winding mountain road, the lodge disappeared in the rearview mirror, swallowed by the trees and the night. It's strange, you spend your whole life waiting for the moment of vindication, you imagine it will feel like fireworks, like a parade, but it doesn't. It feels like exhaling after holding your breath for 20 years, it feels like quiet. I wasn't going back, not to the house, not to the holidays, not to the role of the silent spare. I had built a skyscraper while they were busy arguing over the height of the fence. I didn't need them to live in it. To everyone building in the dark right now, keep going, the noise doesn't matter, the applause doesn't matter, the people who doubt you, the people who mock you, the people who roll their eyes when you open your laptop, they are not the architects of your life, you are. Let them be loud, let them brag, let them shine their fake gold and think it's the sun. You just keep laying the bricks, you just keep writing the code, because one day, the system will update, and when it does, they will be left staring at a screen they can't control, while you are already miles away, driving toward a horizon you own. If you've ever had to build your dreams in the dark while everyone else was making noise, hit that subscribe button, share this story with someone who needs to know their time is coming.